On June 15, 2025, Xabi Alonso walked into the Santiago Bernabeu as Real Madrid's new manager. 3-year contract, €9 million per year. The prodigal son returning to save his boyhood club. On January 13, 2026, he was fired. 233 days, 34 games, and Real Madrid just paid €30 million for the privilege of sacking him. But here's what the headlines won't tell you: the contract clause that saved Madrid from a €50 million disaster. The $15 million paid to Leverkusen for a manager they now regret buying. The hidden costs that push the real damage past €180 million. And why promoting Álvaro Arbeloa from the B team might be the cheapest decision that costs Madrid everything. Let's start with the direct costs, because €30 million doesn't just appear out of nowhere. Real Madrid's Alonso experiment cost them in 3 distinct phases, and every euro is documented. Phase 1, the buyout from Bayern Leverkusen. Alonso had a contract with Leverkusen running until 2026. He just won the Bundesliga undefeated, became a German legend, and Leverkusen wanted to keep him. Real Madrid paid between €12 and €15 million to release him early. Leverkusen didn't fight it. They took the money, promoted their assistant coach, and moved on. Madrid got their man. Phase 2, 7 months of salary. Alonso's contract guaranteed €9 million annually. He worked from June 15th to January 13th. That's 213 days, approximately 7 months. Prorated salary paid equals €5.25 million. Not hypothetical, actually transferred to his account. Phase 3, severance payment. This is where it gets interesting. When Real Madrid sacked Alonso, they didn't owe him the remaining 2.5 years on his contract. They owed him exactly 1 year, €7 to €9 million depending on bonuses. Why? Because his contract included a protection clause specifically designed for this scenario. Add it up: $15 million to Leverkusen, $5.25 million in salary, €9 million severance. Total direct cost is €29.25 million for 233 days of work. That's €126,000 per day, €860,000 per game managed. The most expensive managerial tenure in football history measured by cost per day. Standard football manager contracts guarantee full payment if terminated without cause. If Alonso had a normal 3-year deal at €9 million annually, Madrid would owe him €27 million the moment they fired him. 2.5 years remaining times €9 million, €27 million. Instead, Alonso's contract included a clause: if terminated in year 1, Madrid only pays 1 additional year. If terminated in year 2, they pay 6 months. If he completes year 3, normal contract. This is not standard. This is protection that only powerful clubs can demand. Why did Alonso accept this? Because it was Real Madrid, his dream job, his boyhood club. He had leverage after the Leverkusen season, but not enough to refuse Florentino Perez's terms. And Perez knew exactly what he was doing. He was buying an unproven manager at the elite level and building in an escape hatch. The clause saved Madrid €18 million. Without it, total cost would be €47 million. With it, €29 million. Still catastrophic, but controlled catastrophe. This is how Real Madrid operates. They take risks, but they hedge every bet. Now let's talk about what Real Madrid actually bought with that €30 million. 34 games managed, 24 wins, 4 draws, 6 losses, 78 points from 102 possible, win rate of 70%. Those numbers sound respectable until you add context. Barcelona appointed Hans Flick the same summer. After 34 games, Flick's record was identical: 24 wins, 4 draws, 6 losses. Exactly the same. Barcelona kept Flick. He's now thriving. Real Madrid sacked Alonso and paid $30 million to start over. The difference wasn't performance, it was patience. And ironically, Barcelona's lack of money forced better decision-making. But the losses tell the story Madrid's board couldn't ignore. Spanish Super Cup final, lost to Barcelona. The El Clasico that triggered everything, lost 4-0 to Barcelona at home. Vinicius Jr. was substituted in the 75th minute. He confronted Alonso on the touchline, reportedly saying, "I'll leave this club if this continues." That confrontation made headlines worldwide. It also made Alonso's position untenable. Then came the Club World Cup disaster. Real Madrid, as UEFA Champions League winners, faced PSG in the final. Lost 4-0. Outplayed, outcoached, humiliated on the biggest stage. Kylian Mbappé, Madrid's €200 million summer signing, reportedly ignored Alonso's tactical instructions during matches. The dressing room had fractured. 6 losses in 34 games doesn't sound catastrophic, but 4 of them were humiliating defeats to direct rivals. And in football, results matter less than politics when star players turn on you. So Madrid moved fast, sacked Alonso, paid the $30 million, and promoted Álvaro Arbeloa from the B team. And this is where the financial decision gets really interesting, because Arbeloa costs almost nothing. Arbeloa manages Real Castilla, the B team, earning approximately €500,000 annually. Compare that to Alonso's $9 million, or what external candidates would demand. On paper, this looks smart. Madrid just lost $30 million on Alonso. Why immediately spend another $10 to $15 million annually on an external replacement when you can promote from within for peanuts? Arbeloa knows the club, speaks Spanish, played for Madrid, and won't demand transfer funds or tactical autonomy. But there's massive risk hiding in this cheap option. Arbeloa has 0 top-level managerial experience. He's coached youth teams since 2020 and the B team since June 2025. That's 8 months managing teenagers in Spain's 3rd division. Now he's managing Vinicius Jr, Kylian Mbappé, and Jude Bellingham in Champions League knockout rounds. If this fails, Madrid faces another sacking, another severance payment, another managerial search. The $30 million wasted on Alonso becomes $60 million wasted on Alonso plus Arbeloa. Saving $9.5 million in annual salary might cost $100 million if the gamble fails. This is the hidden pattern in Madrid's decision-making. Florentino Perez spends big on players, $200 million for Mbappé, $130 million for Bellingham, but he's cheap on managers. Why? Because managers are replaceable in his system. Players are assets, managers are employees. And if an employee costs $30 million to fire, you hire the next one for nothing. But the $30 million direct cost is only the beginning. The real financial damage goes far beyond severance payments and includes costs Madrid will never publicly acknowledge. Lost transfers. Martín Zubamendi, Spain's Euro 2024 winning midfielder, was Madrid's primary summer target. He chose Arsenal instead. Reports suggest he didn't want to play in Alonso's system. Zubamendi would have cost €70 million. Madrid missed him because of managerial instability. That's opportunity cost number 1. Lost prize money. Spanish Super Cup, €0. Madrid lost the final to Barcelona. La Liga, currently 4 points behind Barcelona with Alonso's final record. If that gap costs them the title, they lose approximately €20 million in prize money and Champions League seeding bonuses. Champions League, they're through to knockout rounds but unconvincing. Performances under Alonso put them in a harder draw. Potential cost of early elimination versus winning the tournament, €60 million difference. Player devaluation. This is the big one. Vinicius Jr.'s public confrontation with Alonso damaged his relationship with the club. Transfer value drops when players are unhappy. If Vinicius forces a move to PSG or Saudi Arabia for $50 million less than his peak value, that's $50 million gone. Mbappé arrived as a $200 million asset. If he underperforms due to tactical confusion and his value drops 20%, that's $40 million lost on paper. So, what happens now? Does Arbeloa succeed, or does Real Madrid's cheap gamble backfire? Early signs are mixed. Arbeloa won his first 2 games, Real Sociedad 2-0, Girona 3-1. The dressing room reportedly responded positively to his appointment. He's one of them, former player, understands Madrid culture, speaks the player's language. No tactical revolution, just stability. But the real tests are coming. Champions League round of 16, La Liga Clásico return fixture. If Arbeloa loses both, the 30 million Alonso disaster becomes a 60 million Arbeloa disaster, and Florentino Perez has to admit his system is broken. The financial lesson here isn't about 30 million euros, it's about the protection clause that saved 18 million. It's about the false economy of hiring cheap replacements. It's about how Barcelona's poverty forced patience that's now paying dividends, while Madrid's wealth enabled impatience that cost 180 million. When you see the next managerial appointment at a top club, ask yourself this: is there a protection clause limiting severance? Is the club hiring proven experience or gambling on potential? And are they building for success or just managing risk?